Doc and the Clippers gave it everything that they had. They held in it as long as they did. And as Clay said, I think profoundly after the game, there's a lot of options. How about 55 points from Clay and Durant, 9 threes combined? Steph didn't have to do that much. Warriors now 1 game away from putting themselves in that next round, perhaps in a rematch against the Houston Rockets. Casey Stern, Coach Thibodeau is with us. We've also got Smitty and Tough Juice bringing back whenever you can't UConn, unless you're trying to beat the Warriors, in which you can't.
You cannot.
You just cannot. And especially when, Coach, you, as somebody who understands defense as much as anybody, you could do whatever you can do with your personnel, but they just always have that one other option you can't cover, and it was Clay, 27 points in the first half of his 33 scored in a game.
Yeah, and the thing about the Warriors, it's the championship experience. They've seen every type of defense. They know how to defend every offense. But the movement without the ball, when the ball goes into the post, they're never going to stop moving. And this is where Draymond is so effective. You can see Clay setting his man up all the way on that. It's the same thing here. It's the movement without the ball. As they move and when they hit Draymond has point guard skills, great vision, great decision making. These are wide open shots, good extra pass, corner three, and that's what makes their offense so hard to guard. Same thing here. You see the penetration, and then it's the relocation. And you see Clay there sprinting out to the corner, another wide open. They relocate probably as well as any team in the league, and they're all unselfish. But they're never going to stop moving once that ball goes into the paint.
Yeah, and we saw defensively they really have clamped down when they've needed to on Lou Williams. And, I mean, that was a major factor. I mean, Lou was frustrated in this game, only 2 for 10. But they made a point, Smitty, to say they weren't going to allow what happened in that second half. They've given respect. They know how tough he is. But they made it really hard for him to even get the ball in a possession. And without him scoring in bunches, bench or not, the Clippers aren't going to be able to find a way to cut that gap against them.
Yeah, it is hard. And give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the young rookie, had 25 points. And if they could have got a big night from Lou and also a big night from Montrezl Harrell, this might be a different ball game. But just 22 points between Lou Williams and also Montrezl Harrell. Concerted effort to make it tough on Lou Williams. And Lou just had one of those nights. 12 is not a bad night, but they need more. They need Lou to have 20, 25. They need Montrez. They need everybody. They're just outmanned, but I love the way Doc had these guys competing to the end.
You know, the other thing that we saw was in big possessions, and this always gets forgotten, those extra second chance points, those tip outs, those opportunities that with Bogut back we've seen him do before, but he and Draymond underneath, the unselfishness. They play team basketball more than just having alone the talent, and that was really what we saw again come to the forefront tonight, Karan.
Yeah, I think Coach touched on it, extremely well when you just talk about the squad being battle-tested. They know the pulse of the game. They know the moments, and when you have to make big shots and have the big moments in the game and how deflating those moments can be. You see Kevin Durant hit the 2 jumpers, and it kills the momentum of the Clippers, and then he's looking at the crowd, and it's just like, how do we get over that hurdle? And they cannot get over that moment. So, it started trending in their direction in that fourth quarter, and they was able to capitalize and get a quality win on the road.
The other thing, Coach, is that you can speak to, it's not that easy to score. And they make it look so easy that you watch teams like the Clippers guys who fight so hard in a possession, or let's say in a beginning of a quarter where Doc is on them, hey, let's come out strong. They go out 8-2 run. All of a sudden, in 30 seconds, 2 threes from Steph, and you are even. How demoralizing is it the way they score?
It crushes you. And the way they move the ball and they get a wide open shot, and then the way they offensive rebound. But when they offensive rebound, they kick out for those dagger threes, and that breaks your back. You defend for 20 seconds well, and then you give up a wide open three. But I think the other thing you can't lose sight of is the way Andre Iguodala defended. He put a lot of pressure on Lou Williams at all times. And he made them work, and that's what their understanding of the things they have to do is what makes them so special.
Well, they certainly have rebounded after blowing what was the biggest lead that we've seen a comeback stem from in the history of the playoffs. Steve Kerr, I'm sure a bit happier with the performance that he saw here, putting them up 3-1 in the series. Warriors now 1 win away from that next round. Lou Will and company, they are never going to give in. They're going to fight, but Clay was taking the fight to everybody. 17 points in the early going, made his first 7 from the floor, Smitty. That's good, right?
It just seems like, I mean, I love him as a player. It just seems like he comes with these huge games at the right moment. Big moment when Steph is not shooting as particularly well. In one of these games where it's a game that you don't want to be 2-2, Klay comes up with big games.
Now, we're talking about Lou and bunches. We know Klay could do it, but Montrez not going anywhere. 11-0 run, capped by Jerome Robinson. Karan going the other way.
Excellent job getting that deflection. Robinson going the distance, finishing strong for 1.
Until this. Coach, you've seen that, right? You fight hard, you get back in it, and then
That's what makes him so hard to guard. I think the playmaking of Draymond and then the unselfishness of Kevin, wide open shots.
27 at the half for Klay. Lou Will creates space, hits the fade, but then again, right back.
Whenever you're shooting by letters, I mean, that's deep.
Shot that from P1.
Half one, lead was 8. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander keeping him in it. Smitty, I know you and I have liked him really since draft day. Doc has been high on this. Could be a real good player, 25.
Knows how to play.
And not afraid.
Not at all. Good feel for the game. Great size at that point guard position.
9 of 15 from the floor. Ball movement. Nice extra feed there from Gallo. Inside, Harrell. They're feeling good. Clippers up 5. And then again, when you feel good, this happens. He missed his first 7 threes. Steph hit just 3 from the floor. He had 12 points. Warriors, though, still working.
Great play by Bogut. Great cut by Andre.
Klay, no dribbles needed. Had 32, 6 of 9 from 3. Lead was 8. Inside, Durant.
Flip the split there.
How about Steph?
Of high.
Man. And then KD finishing touches, 33.7 boards, 66. Good night. The Clippers gave it everything they had. Effort never an issue, and I'm sure they'll get that on the road as well, despite the fact that Klay said after the game, we owe 1 to the folks at Oracle, so that first quarter may be interesting to watch out of the gates for the Warriors after what they did to those fans blowing that 31-point lead. We know what Doc's done for this team. Tough loss for his boys. Here is Doc Rivers after the game. Of this series, Warriors and Clippers. Game 5 is coming up on Wednesday. TBD. It's everyone's favorite time to watch a game. You can keep posted on NBA.com and here. I'll be here, so I'll be looking forward to finding out what it is, because I'll be here for that with G. Hill and B. Wood. In the meantime, we look ahead to game number 5. And in this series, we talked about, Coach, the importance of sweeps. The Warriors, last time they were at home, and Klay spoke to it, they did not end things for themselves or for their fans the way they want last year in this building. What kind of a statement do you expect in game 5, unfortunately, for Doc and company?
Well, I think Klay said it all. They'll be ready, and usually the final game is the hardest one, getting that, the final win. And so I think there won't be a lapse in that game. There'll be great intensity right from the start. And I think you'll see the Warriors at their best. I think they know what's at stake.
Smitty, Rockets will try and lock things up late tomorrow night. Tibbs and I'll be here for that. You know Golden State wants to be in their best way going into it. How much is it important? Because they really unprovoked we're talking about in the press conferences. They know what's coming up next. For that reason, how important is it that they get things locked up?
It's always important to get rest, especially your opponent, probably the Houston Rockets, that got a chance to sweep. But I think also you just don't want to play around with the Clippers. They have some guys that can go off, and you don't want to get the games back in L.A. and give them a chance. And you just don't want to take any chances. So it's going to be super focused, like Coach said at the beginning. Gallinari is going to have a game for them. And then obviously Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell is going to have to play well. I'm looking for Gallinari to have one of those games.
All right, Clipper legend, what do you get from the Clips here in Game 5?
Man, I hope they just leave it all out there and, try to, restore the feeling. But look, I think Klay said it best. I think they're trying to put on a demonstration. Going back home, that loss left a bad taste in their mouth, and they're trying to continue to trend in the right direction and get prepared for the next round.
All right, you should get prepared. Just a couple moments away on TNT. The Raptors looking to keep their magic going for themselves in Orlando. Convucci Company get back even in this series, and all of the particulars and highlights analysis coming throughout the night on NBA TV. Right here, the Warriors 1 game away from moving on. From a couple of days ago, he's Kevin Durant, and he again showed it In game number 3, 33 points, 12 of 21 from the floor, 7 boards, 6 assists, and 1 conversation. We got a chance to hear from him.
Robert Flom, Clips Nation. KD, like a decade ago, you were part of a young up-and-coming team in OKC. Now you're playing against a team with playing a bunch of young guys, Landry Shamet, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How important are those early playoff experiences for them? Like, how important will they be? How important were they for you?
Yeah, decade ago is a long time ago, man. And I walked in this building and played my first playoff series against a 1 seed, I think. We were 8 seed that year. And throughout the series, it was a rough one for me individually. You know, we took them to 6. You know, they were champions, but it was revealing. You know, you just learn how to play. You learn what focus and preparation is at this level, especially in playoffs, playing a team over and over again. So that work going into the summer was different. So I'm sure it's going to be the same for these young guys.
Farbodas Nashari, Clips Nation. Piggybacking off that last question, can you talk about what you saw from the Clippers' young guys today?
Well, I seen Shai come out and wanted to impose his will on the game early. You know, 25 points. He got them going to start the game. He had 14 in the first quarter, I think. And knocking down the 3, getting to the rim, putting pressure on our defense. I mean, he played with no fear tonight, and that's what kept him in the game most of the game.
KD, with a 3-1 advantage, how has your team intensified and going back home knowing that you can close it out?
Well, we got a couple days in between, so guys are just focusing on this off day and mentally and physically just kind of getting their minds and bodies right for Game 5. And, you know, we come out there relaxed and prepared and focused to, you know, play 48 minutes of solid basketball. I think that's just been our mindset.
KD, TPJ of Hoops and Brews. Today you had 6 assists and you had 3 straight assists, I believe it was, to Klay Thompson. Can you talk just about your playmaking tonight and how you were on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, Coach called my number in the fourth to handle the ball, and that don't mean just score. You know, if I see an opportunity to get a bucket, you know, I try to take advantage. But Klay had it going. He had a mismatch, you know, especially when the ball in my hands a lot, I know where to come around. So, you know, just try to get everybody else going and, you know, get our energy going from just touching the basketball. I think that provides energy when everybody touches the ball, and we got some stops on the other end.
Kevin, you guys were up 10 at the end of the first quarter. Clips make a run there at the end, and then right before the half, you hit that 4-point play. Just how big important was that to double that lead from 4 to 8 going into the break?
I mean, any shots you can make going into the halftime, whether it's a layup or a 4-point play, I think that's good momentum. You know, basketball is all about momentum and flow. And, you know, they had it after cutting the lead. And, you know, they'd have been up 4 going into the half, and then they came out the third quarter with even a bigger punch. So, you know, even though it was just 4 points, you know, it was good at that time for us to get a little bit more separation, knowing that they had some momentum going into the half.
Jared Davis, LA Sentinel. KD, when the Clippers took the lead, the 5-point lead, what kind of adjustments did you guys make to really capture that momentum?
Well, you just gotta correct the defensive lapses, you know, because when we locked in on defense, we were making guys shoot over us, and, you know, we're a pretty tough team. So in that stretch, they were getting some wide open threes, but we were also turning the ball over as well. So it's hard for us to set our defense up when we turn the rock over or shooting bad shots. And I think we had a 2-3 minute spurt of that, you know, and this team just looking for a crack in the opening for us to, you know, kind of relax and lay down, just like Game 2. And you know, but they don't stop, man. They're one of those teams that's just going to make you feel them all game, and even when you go home after the game, you're going to be thinking about them because they're tough.
Last 2 or 3, whenever you're starting.
And KD, Chris with the Fantasy Sports Cave. Today, Doc started JaMychal Green on you today, and obviously before he had Pat Beverly in games before. Does your mentality, your game change, or your approach change when you start the game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, JaMychal Green is obviously taller, so where I initiate and where I operate from the floor has to change. And, you know, I can mix in, you know, playing the same way I played the previous game just a little, but, you know, to keep the defense off balance, you know, to not be predictable out there, you know, I got to use the full body of my offensive talents. You know, whether it's coming off screens, pick and rolls, being a facilitator, scoring the post, I just got to be ready to dive deep in the bag.
Money Pool, NBC Sports Bay Area. Kevin, what was the key for your defense? You guys closed the game. I think you held them to 2 field goals over the last 8 minutes. In your mind, what was the key to getting that done?
Well, when we focus in and keep the ball in front, you know, make them shoot tough shots over us, and we're in solid shape. I think we did a good job with the Lou Williams pick and roll, forcing him to his right side and, you know, making him shoot the pull-up jump shot instead of getting to the paint and drawing guys. And him and Montrez having a nice two-man game. I think we kind of eliminated that a little bit with our pick and roll coverage. You know, and guys are helping out on the backside as well. So, you know, that's the game. That's the game for us. You know, these guys are, you know, can bust out and score a lot of points, especially with the shooters and the penetrators they have. So we just try to make them see bodies, make them see arms and hands, and, you know.
All right, thank you, KD.
Make them finish.
Not bad.
All smiles for KD, Clay and company. The Warriors 1 game away from locking this series up. We'll look ahead to game number 5 and put a bow on this when we come back. Of this series, Warriors and Clippers. Game 5 is coming up on Wednesday. TBD, it's everyone's favorite time to watch a game. You can keep posted on NBA.com and here. I'll be here, so I'll be looking forward to finding out what it is, because I'll be here for that with G. Hill and B. Wood. In the meantime, we look ahead to game number 5. And in this series, we talked about, Coach, the importance of sweeps. The Warriors, last time they were at home, and Clay spoke to it, they did not end things for themselves or for their fans the way they want last year in this building. What kind of a statement do you expect in game 5, unfortunately, for Doc and company?
Well, I think Clay said it all. They'll be ready, and usually the final game is the hardest one, getting that, the final win. And so I think there won't be a lapse in that game. There'll be great intensity right from the start. And I think you'll see the Warriors at their best. I think they know what's at stake.
Smitty, Rockets will try and lock things up late tomorrow night. Tibbs and I'll be here for that. You know Golden State wants to be in their best way going into it. How much is it important? Because they've really unprovoked we're talking about in the press conference. They know what's coming up next. For that reason, how important is it that they get things locked up?
It's always important to get rest, especially your opponent, probably the Houston Rockets, that got a chance to sweep. But I think also you just don't want to play around with the Clippers. They have some guys that can go off, and you don't want to get the games back in L.A. and give them a chance. And you just don't want to take any chances. So it's going to be super focused, like Coach said at the beginning. Gallinari is going to have a game for them. And then obviously Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell is going to have to play well. I'm looking for Gallinari to have one of those games.
All right, Clipper Legend, what do you get from the Clips here in Game 5?
Man, I hope they just leave it all out there and, try to, restore the feeling. But look, I think Clay said it best. I think they're trying to put on a demonstration. Going back home, that loss left a bad taste in their mouth, and they're trying to continue to trend in the right direction and get prepared for the next round.
All right, you should get prepared. Just a couple moments away on TNT. The Raptors looking to keep their magic going for themselves in Orlando. Convucci Company get back even in this series, and all of the particulars and highlights analysis coming throughout the night on NBA TV. Right here, the Warriors 1 game away from moving on.